What's the recipe for Texas winning the national championship and continuing this really cool era that has begun with Steve Sarkisian? What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Arch Manning has to be some version of Vince Young for Texas to win its first national championship, since Vince Young led them to the 2005 national championship? In what is really a year in which he put that entire team on his back. In retrospect, maybe should have won the Heisman Trophy. I'm also going to take this opportunity to remind you we have an audio podcast on Apple and Spotify, and I am giving stickers like this one to anybody that is cool enough to go to Apple, to go to Spotify, to leave a 5-star review, even comment on Spotify if you so choose. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like about the show, how we can improve the show for the audio format, and then fill out the link in the description below where there's a form, and I'll put that in the mail to you. Trying to get to 500. Right now we're fast approaching 340. We need 8 today to get to that. Be very cool to do it. And if you like listening to it, listen to it. Let me know. We might be doing some more of that in the very near future. All right. So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm asking the question, what is it going to take for Texas to win the national championship in 2025? Because 20 years on, the schedule is eerily similar to the one that they played in 2005, even with conference realignment, even with the college football playoff, even what we know about name, image, and likeness and entering the revenue sharing age of the sport. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, Vince Young really was the chef in the kitchen making it happen for Texas. Like, it's not just that Vince Young passed for 3,000 yards. It's that he also rushed for 1,000 yards and had 38 total TDs with just 10 picks. But put that in perspective, there isn't a 1,000-yard receiver on that team. I mean, Billy Pittman's got 750, and he's going for 22 yards per clip. But not having a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher, Jamal Charles went for 878 and led, I believe, the nation in rushing average at 7.4. But it was just the Vince Young show. It was, we're running Texas spread. Whatever Vince decides we're going to do, that's what we're going to do. And most of the time, like a great point guard, a la SGA or Tyrese Halliburton, he can get his own shot. And sometimes him getting his own shot is the best result you can get. Just like we saw to end the 2005 national championship game. He called his own number, got to the corner of the end zone, and he got the rose between his teeth, right? Against what we thought, well, what is one of the best football teams to ever take the field in that 05 SC team. People forget, Matt Leinert's coming off of winning the Heisman in 04. Reggie Bush had just won the Heisman in 05. That defense was nasty. My God. Ray Malaluga. Oh, my God. Clay Matthews. Brian Cushing. I mean, nasty. All right? And on the Texas defense, yeah, Michael Huff was doing a lot of work. And you had one dude, though, in him that had 100 tackles. Nobody else had more than 100 tackles. Nobody had double-digit sacks. A couple guys had 3 picks. It really was Vince Young, bend, don't break on defense. Even so, I'm looking at the schedule in 05, and I think it kind of matches up with what I would expect for Texas to have to do in 2025. Check this out. When they played Ohio State, they beat them 25-22. You get a 25-22 win against Ohio State this year. If you don't start the season as the number 1 team, we're probably going to make you the number 1 team, and you will be the hunted. It's a different SEC. It's a different Big Ten. It's a different format, different teams, different head coaches. But we the same. We the same. Like, I think it's one of the things that we overlook as we're talking about this sport that we love. College football fans ain't changed, okay? We ain't changed teams. We ain't changed the get down. We ain't changed whose ass we need to beat, how bad we need to beat them. None of that. Because I'm looking at this OU score and I'm going, my face melted because I was freshly wounded all over again. 45-12. At the time, it's the worst beatdown that had ever happened to Oklahoma in my life at a time when Oklahoma was good. All right? Like, you can see I'm clenching my fist here. I was so hurt. Man, I was hurt. Because Vince and them, Sergio Kindle, going to work. You know, like I'm thinking about 08, you know what I'm saying? I'm already at 08 from 05. Brian Arakpo, good God. It was just between 2005, 2009, you know, Texas is on the sort of tear that it's on now, right? Where they're doing what you expect Texas to do, which is just reach your level, right? Reach your water level. Then they beat A&M that year, 40-29. That game is at Texas this year. And they beat Missouri 51-20. Missouri ain't on the schedule this year, but to tell you who is, right? You're at Ohio State. You're at Georgia, which I think is kind of going to be the stand-in for the Oklahoma game this year. Like, yes, it's OU Texas, but Oklahoma is not on Georgia's level in as far as the last 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe not even on its level when we're talking about blow for blow, roster for roster this year. But I don't think it's going to be the blowout of 45-12. I also need to see John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle do some things before I'm like, yeah, Oklahoma got a shot here. Because I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to be there, and we're going to have the hat on. But, you know, last year the hat was useless. So, you know, the beat Texas hat, that hat. And then you're at Florida, DJ Lagway, Billy Napier. We expect them to be good, probably on par with an Oklahoma, definitely not on par with a Georgia. And, again, versus A&M. Depending on what Arkansas we see, that could be something. But their non-conference schedule is basically a trip around Texas, right? They got UTEP. They got Sam Houston. We don't expect much to happen after the Ohio State game before they get the SEC play. So I'm looking at this, and I'm asking myself, what does Arch Manning have to do to win the national championship? Now, one, you're going to have to play a couple more games at a minimum, right? 2005 Texas goes 13-0. They have to play 13 games. They win all 13 of them, right? Against a really great USC team. Imagine that Texas needs to play against Georgia, against Notre Dame, against Ohio State, against Penn State, against Oregon, against any of the teams that you might pick to play in the national championship this year. Would they be able to win? And what would it take? I think if Arch is a 3,000, 1,000 guy, not only did he win the Heisman Trophy, I'm going to have real questions about just how good the rest of that roster needed to be. Because, again, what Vince did in 05 should have been possible. And then Cam Newton basically does the same thing in 2010. But we still live in a place where the quarterback can put you on his back and carry you to the national championship. And if he catches fire, like Will Howard did the last 4 games of the season, you absolutely will win the national championship. And that's what it's going to come down to. Who's going to have the hottest quarterback? Who's going to have the guy that sees it before it happens? I mean, the way Will Howard played against Oregon in the Rose Bowl versus the way that Dylan Gabriel played versus Ohio State in the Rose Bowl told you the difference. I mean, and you kept going, right? Riley Leonard versus Drew Aller. Riley Leonard made a play. Drew Aller did not. In the national championship game, Riley Leonard just out. Will Howard seeing it. That's what it's going to take. I am curious about that. So when I ask this question about which part of Arch Manning do we need to see in Vince Young, the guy that sees the play makes the play. Whether he's making it with his legs or whether he's making it with his arm doesn't really matter to me. It matters that he makes the right play at the right time. He's also going to have pretty damn good backfield. Although there are people that believe that Jamal Charles might be the most underrated tailback to ever play football. I say you following Cedric Benson, so it might be possible. But when you got C.J. Baxter, when you got Quintravion Wisener, when you got Jared Gibson, Christian Clark, on down the line, you're going to have guys you can hand the ball to. On the outside, we know about Ryan Wingo. We know about DeAndre Moore. On getting Jack Indries to come in and play some tight end for you. He's going to be a benefit of the deep ball. Offense going to be fine. Defensively, you just got to be as good as you were last year. Frankly, you just do. Because last year, it was Jalen Walker in Quinn Ewers' grill. I hadn't seen anybody dominate Kelvin Banks quite like Jalen Walker dominated Kelvin Banks in that first matchup at night, where you got to see Texas fans getting loud and nasty about it at DKR because, well, that's what they do. They weren't able to hold their water on that one. This year, I expect them to play for the national championship, or at the very least make the playoff and perhaps get a bye, because that's what they've been doing. Like, this is not out of the ordinary. This happened to Michigan. They make the thing, they play in the game, they win the game, right? Like, there's a maturation here. This is their ascendancy. Can they keep this momentum after this year is going to be the question. Arch comes back, we think. You should be able to do that. We should be entering an era of Texas finally getting to be the dominant force that we saw them be from basically 2005 to 2009. Can they sustain it after that? Well, got to hit on the quarterback. Diabell coming in after Arch Manning, you got to hit on that, right? You hit on Quinn Ewers, even after he could not stay healthy for an entire season. I think because Arch's last name is Manning, and because we've already seen enough of him to convince us he's got the goods, you're hearing people like me say nice things about him, while you, college football fan, homie, is going, hey, RJ, he ain't done nothing. I don't know, dog. Not doing nothing, going for 3 bills against Mississippi State. And, you know, like coming in off the bench against UTSA to put up the numbers he did, that's not nothing. I don't think Sark did him any favors by having him in those goal line packages, the red zone packages against these better teams, but you do want to get him on-field experience in games that matter. So from that standpoint, it was a favor, right? Because he got the experience. Wasn't a favor in what packages he had him in there, but Quinn Ewers needing to be the guy is Quinn Ewers needing to be the guy, and I think Sarkisian understands this better than anybody else. Your quarterback has to be your quarterback. Lincoln Riley used to believe this. He would not take a guy off the field. He would have that guy going, nope, you're my guy. Dig your way out. You're my guy. Dig your way out. And then he pulled Spencer Rattler, and that changed things. Sark is being very, very good about going, this is the guy. Nope, Arch is going to be our guy in 2025. Where Quinn was our guy in 2024 when Texas fans was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, because I need the guy behind him to know I'm going to have his back no matter what. That was the most encouraging part of 2024 for me, a la Arch Manning. You got to see what it looks like when you got the guy. When Sark says Quinn's our guy, wait, it's going to be you. You get to trust that. So when it is you, you ain't got to look over your shoulder, right? Now, there's going to be a lot of people that say, hey, maybe he's Arch Manning and doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He plays a bad game, he will. Because you're only as good as your last game. And the best thing for Arch Manning is we've got great memories of his last game as the guy. When those get called into question, he throws 2 or 3 picks against Ohio State, then we're going to see, right? So does he need to be Vince Young? No, because I think he's got a better play caller in Steve Sarkisian. I think he's got guys that are going to be able to help him. But it would not shock me that we get to see Arch be a 4,000, 1,000 guy if that's what you want to do. Now, that said, Sarkisian loves to have a 1,000-yard rusher, and he doesn't like it to particularly be the quarterback. He would love it to be the running back. So you might not see him get that many opportunities to call his own number, but pushing the ball down the field, expect that. Expect high-scoring games. Expect them to be more than just a little bit competitive against Ohio State. If you're going to pick them to beat Oklahoma, I'm not going to tell you no today. Pick them to beat A&M. And then let's see what happens when they go to Sanford, because at Sanford's going to tell us if this team is ready to win the national championship. If they lose that game, we might be in the Oklahoma holding pattern that is simply just getting to the college football playoff semifinals and calling it good.